This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and Riq Woolen is no longer a Seattle Seahawk. He just signed a one-year deal to go over with the Philadelphia Eagles. I am going to tell you right now why this is a good deal for the Seahawks. Not to disparage Riq Woolen, but I do think that there is an easy avenue for a lot of Seahawk fans to kind of look at everything that's going on with this contract and say, you know what, the Seahawks made the correct decision. Woolen is going to leave Seattle. He's going to sign with the Eagles on a one-year, $15 million contract. He obviously had a successful campaign in the 2025 season with the Seahawks, won a Super Bowl. But to sit here and say that Riq Woolen ended up living out his entire contract up to his prime, I would say, would be a lie. I think that Riq Woolen is a very good player. And I think that he has still a lot of room to grow as a cornerback in the National Football League. There are few corners that are as tall as him, that are as fast as him, that are as good in man coverage as he is. But the thing with Riq Woolen is it feels like bonehead mistakes seem to pop up from time to time that could end up being costly or were almost costly to the Seattle Seahawks. It felt like we got to a point where the Seahawks knew that they needed Riq Woolen to win that Super Bowl. But they did not want to be beholden to Riq Woolen for an extended period of time. And Woolen went out and he hit free agency, and when I talked to him at the Super Bowl, I kind of got the sense that he was going to go where he was wanted most. Now, I assumed that Seattle was going to be the team that wanted him most. But as time went on, it became more and more clear to me that Riq Woolen would not be returning to the Seattle Seahawks despite what I may have hoped. And now he is going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Grade the Riq Woolen signing from a Seahawks perspective. Is this an A, B, C, D, or F that the Seahawks ended up letting him go? Let me know what your opinion is down below in the comment section, and I'm going to fire off my take right now. I think producer Searle and myself agree when I say that this is an A decision by the Seahawks. The Seahawks decided to not pay Riq Woolen and to pay Josh Jobe. Going into this year, you had two players that played that cornerback 2 position. Sometimes it was Riq. Sometimes it was Josh Jobe. And when you look at the stat line for Riq and for Jobe, they are essentially the same. Now, Woolen matched up better with taller receivers like when you were playing against Davante Adams. Jobe matched up better when you were playing against some of the smaller receivers. But look at the tackles. Look at the pass breakups. Look at the interceptions. The difference is Riq Woolen had a TFL, Josh Jobe didn't, but Josh Jobe had a bunch more tackles total. So when you look at these two players, I don't think it's that crazy to say that they are the same, and producer Searle is looking at me right now, nodding his head, saying, yeah, Will, they're essentially the same. And if they are essentially the same, then you should go with the cheaper option, which was Josh Jobe. When you look at the career of Riq Woolen after that rookie year, I thought we found Richard Sherman 2.0. I thought we found a more athletic version of Richard Sherman. We found a faster version. We found a lankier version. We found a version of Richard Sherman that could do everything that he could do and more because of the athleticism. And the more and more that Woolen played, the more and more I realized, and I think a lot of Seahawks fans realize as well, that he is a very good cornerback. But he is not an elite cornerback. And now Woolen went out and he got paid, and he deserves it, and I'm happy that he did it. He deserves to get paid the contract that he's going to get. But when you look at the totality of his career and you look at the decision that the Seahawks had to make between Josh Jobe and Riq Woolen, it's clear to me. The Seahawks went with the cheaper option, and that was Josh Jobe. Because you're essentially getting the same player. The difference is the Seahawks paid half the price for that same player. We're going to dive into more of my thoughts on this signing in just a moment, but I got to let you know about my good friends over at Prize Picks, because they are the sponsor of today's video. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. Pick from all your favorite sports, anything from basketball, baseball, hockey, UFC, soccer, college, basketball, tennis, golf, esports, and more. New feature alert! Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I got a lineup for the action going on tonight. Cooper Flag, more on his rebounds plus assists. Luka Doncic, more on his points. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now, when we look at Riq Woolen making the decision to not stay in Seattle with the Seahawks, I'm not going to fault the guy. I think he made the right decision. Go to where you can get paid. Go to a spot where they are going to play a style that might better fit your system, better fit your skill set. When you look at a player like Riq Woolen, he needs to be in a man scheme type of defense. Why? Because that's where he's at his best. He gets to utilize his athleticism. He gets to utilize what makes him great. He gets to be long. He gets to be strong. He gets to use his speed. He doesn't have to think. He can just act. And when Riq Woolen is just acting, well, that's when Riq Woolen is at his best. He is the type of player, in my personal opinion, that can make some big things happen. And so when I look at Riq Woolen, I am not surprised that he would go to the Philadelphia Eagles because they needed a corner, and I think he fits that cornerback room. I think as we look forward and we go through this team, I think that there is an opportunity for Riq Woolen to find the success that he has been looking for, and we know that he can reach. I think he is a very good player, and I'm excited to see what he ends up doing. When we look at our cornerback room right now in Seattle, it's just Josh Jobe, Devin Witherspoon, and Nehemiah Pritchett. So it's very obvious that the Seattle Seahawks are going to have to make a move. They are going to have to make a decision. They are going to have to make a call at some point here. They are going to have to make a decision on grabbing a free agent corner or going after a corner in the draft. So do not be shocked if the Seahawks are making more moves around that cornerback position. But it is clear that John Schneider wants to make a move that is going to make the most sense for this team. And he will not overpay. He will make sure that whatever he pays for, this team gets the most out of. The more and more that I look at this team, the more and more that I realize that John Schneider is doing a great job. I'm going to ask you what your reaction is to the signing in just one moment. But first, I got to let you know about the sweet t-shirt that I have on my person right now. We have our Seahawks Today shirt, only $24.99. I'm wearing the navy. We also have it in black, super comfortable, tight on the arms, loose on the belly. It's going to be the most comfortable t-shirt that you have. We're going to have the link for that in the comment section and description of today's video. You click the link, you go and pick yourself up one. Boy, are they sweet. What is your one-word reaction to Woolen signing with the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me know down below. I personally think that the more and more that we think about this and the more and more that we take a second to step back, the more I realize Josh Schneider's a genius. So my word is genius. Because the Seattle Seahawks just won a Super Bowl. And despite having a ton of free agents and a lot of free agents that are getting paid good money, the Seattle Seahawks lost one defensive starter, 1.5, because Woolen and Jobe kind of bounced back and forth. And you lost one offensive starter. That's it. You lost 1.5 defensive starters, one offensive starter. When you look at the big names that were free agents, there were 6 guys. Here are the 4 that decided to not re-sign with the Seahawks. Riq Woolen's going to sign on a 1-year, $15 million deal with the Eagles. I like Riq Woolen a lot. That's too much money for me. I think that you're getting the same player in Ty Okada. I would not spend that money. Kobe Bryant, 3 years, $40 million with the Bears. Great deal for Kobe. Great for the Bears. They're getting a great safety. Ty Okada's numbers are very similar. I think that the Seahawks made a decision based on money, and they got a similar, almost the exact same player for cheaper. Boye Mafe was the 4th edge rusher on this team, and he just signed for a $20 million a year deal. Good for Boye. I don't know that I want to pay $20 million to the guy who's your fourth edge rusher. Kenneth Walker. He's now making top 5 running back money in the National Football League. 3 years, $43.05 million with the Chiefs. He's not a top 5 running back to me, and he's not someone that I'm willing to spend that amount of money on. John Schneider is smarter than everyone else. And there was a debate, who's the best GM in the National Football League? Is it John Schneider or is it Howie Roseman? And I think that this deal ends up sealing it. I don't think that Philly fans are going to be saying, Howie does it again! Because John Schneider just outsmarted him. John Schneider just took a decision with 2 corners and with 2 safeties. And he said, I have to make the decision on which one I resign. And I'm essentially getting a similar player at the safety position, no matter which guy I sign, and at the cornerback position, no matter which guy I sign. And Schneider decided to sign the 2 cheaper guys instead of going after the bigger, flashier player. And while I have no ill will towards Kobe Bryant, and I have no ill will towards Riq Woolen, and I don't have any ill will towards Boye Mafe or Kenneth Walker either, kudos to them. Good for them. They deserve it, man. Go get your money. But if the Seahawks want to build another Super Bowl, depth is going to be the most important part. Depth is going to be the most important piece. And John Schneider has just saved a bunch of money while also allowing the Seattle Seahawks to essentially be the same. And the same won you a Super Bowl. I think that the Seahawks are going to be able to find players in the draft and find more diamonds in the rough in free agency and continue to build this team to be a better version than the Super Bowl team. And if the Seahawks can stay healthy, then the sky's the limit. John Schneider is showing that he's smarter than everyone else because he makes decisions that no one else is willing to make. Instead of falling in love with the expensive object, he goes out and he finds the person and the player that is going to get the job done at a much cheaper cost. I love what the Seahawks are doing, and that's why I'd like today's video. Because this video, to me, is my magnum opus of what John Schneider is doing in free agency. I trust him. You should too. There is no team right now that is hotter than the Seattle Seahawks, and there is no team right now that is making better decisions while it's quiet than the Seattle Seahawks. I wish nothing but the best of those players that left the Seahawks, and they're going to need it because we're going to be really freaking good again. Hit that sub button. The minute that news breaks, we will be here for you. We were live when the Riq Woolen signing ended up going down. Producer Searle and myself, we had a great time talking with the 12s. You don't want to miss out on that, so make sure that you're subscribed and you have your noties on. You'll never miss any of our videos. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. Thank you for checking out the channel, and I cannot wait to see you next time.